It's recording. Hey guys, it's Kristen again. I'm recording from the bath this time because I know I have a spare minute and thought I would record while I'm still thinking about it. Taking an Epsom salt bath because even though it sounds kind of hippie, it's supposed to help with detox, and at any rate, it's just nice to take a bath. So started thinking today, last night, kind of when I couldn't fall asleep, because I've had this stomach pain that's just not going away this week, and so I've been tossing and turning a lot, and I like to sleep, and so or I guess I wouldn't say I like to sleep, but I need to sleep, so it's been kind of a rough week in that way. But a couple people have asked me recently what it's like, or what it feels like to have Lyme disease, and it's, honestly, it's different for everybody. They call it like the great imitator, because people have been misdiagnosed as having MS, ALS, cancer, fibromyalgia, basically anything. It even messes with your blood cells and stuff, so it's something they can look at and be like, oh, you know what, you have leukemia, and you don't. It's just Lyme disease, and typically it's not just Lyme disease, it's a host of other diseases that go along with it. One of the common ones is called, shortened to Babesia. It's kind of like malaria. It looks the same, it functions a lot the same. It's kind of nice to like compare certain ones to other things. The shape of the Lyme bacteria itself is exactly like the syphilis bacteria, which is something someone can relate to. So I think Lyme gets kind of a lot of flack as being like, oh, Lyme disease, it's like that fake disease, and it's not. It's very scientific. It's a lot like other ones that people know about. They just maybe haven't researched and seen how it works in the body. But anyway, so the symptoms can fluctuate. One day you could have searing joint pain, and the next day it could be more neurological symptoms, especially for those of us that have had it a really long time, like myself. Some days your brain just isn't functioning right. My doctors think I've had Lyme since I was about 11, but only got diagnosed 8 months ago, something like that. And I'd had a lot of symptoms. I'd had pain since I was a kid, basically no immune system, fatigue, like beyond normal tiredness. Like I kind of compare it to when you've taken like a really big dose of NyQuil, and like it almost is impossible to speak. Like you're too tired to get the words out and move, and you just have to sleep. That's basically how it feels. And I remember being about 18 years old and having coworkers say, oh, you're so young, you shouldn't feel like this, and then having the doctors that I would go see say, oh, you're young, you're fine. But I wasn't, and I had dizziness and heart pain and heart palpitations, and these are things that a lot of us go through, being freezing all the time, having like hot flashes and night sweats too. Lyme bacteria especially doesn't like heat, so it lowers your body temperature to survive. So a lot of us run at a lower temperature than other people, and so it's like just being uncomfortable in your own skin. Clammy, cold, hot again, just never being comfortable. Some people have largely the joint pain, and they say they feel like their bones are actually breaking. It's so bad, and pretty much anything you can think of. When I first got diagnosed, I'd had it for a really long time, but all of a sudden I was having tremors, and they were so bad that I would go to pick something up and like drop it, and I would start to say something, and it felt like my face was starting to get paralyzed, and like my words didn't want to come out, and I would stutter, and it was really freaking me out. And that's something that a lot of people have had to deal with, because it crosses the blood-brain barrier and just screws things up. And so there's a lot of, even once you start getting treatment, for me, like, as long as I'm on top of things now, like the tremors are better and things like that. But there's just constant fatigue and pain, and things are just hard. And so you never know, like, oh, you've had to cancel so many things with friends, and so you don't want to cancel again, so you go, but you don't know how long you're going to last. You're just uncomfortable. It's hard not to have anxiety, like, because that's part of it too, is anxiety, just because it's screwing with your brain. But also, you want to make your friends happy and be there with them, and then you kind of just want to be in bed. And so you pick one thing to do, and that's pretty much it. And other people can kind of bounce from one thing to the next, and it's no big deal. And like any one thing, like including doing the dishes one time, is like exhausting, and you may feel like you need a nap afterward. And it's hard to explain to people because they're like, oh, you look fine. Can't even tell you're sick. I thought you'd be wasting away or whatever. And it's like, it's not like that. And most of us, I've had nurses say, no, Lyme patients, they generally look healthy when they're, getting treated, but they just aren't. And so it's hard, and a lot of us don't want to like tell people this all the time because we don't want to be a downer, and like we may seem depressed and we're not. It's just life, and it's how it is, and we want to be with our friends and the people we care about, and it's just exhausting. And it's hard to explain that, like, sometimes it's hard to walk across the house, and some days you're feeling like good, as in I can like get out of bed and my pain level's like at a 6 today, and so I'm gonna vacuum and I'm gonna see this friend that I haven't seen in a long time, or I've canceled, and that's overdoing it. And so we never know like how much it's gonna take before we crash again. And then there's all the stuff that we have to do every day just to keep alive. Like for me, it's piles and piles of supplements. I have the ozone therapy that I do every day now, a lot of detox stuff, the bath. It's just time-consuming stuff, and so it takes up a lot of time. And so it's hard when people are like, so what are you doing? Like, how's your week? It's like, I don't know how to explain. Like, well, I didn't really do anything, but I've been doing a lot. And it's a lot of brain power to keep track of everything when we say we have Lyme brain, because it just messes with you, and it's just hard to keep track of everything. And so yeah, sometimes it feels like we're just in this weird little bubble, and it's hard for people to see in, and we want people to understand, but then we don't, because we want to feel normal too. But it's hard when people make jokes like, well, at least it's not cancer or this other disease, and it's like, well, it's not really that much better. And like some people can't ever get out of bed with Lyme, and like they've been treated and they still just are bedridden, and it's like it doesn't go away. And so I don't know, it's nice when people understand it for what it is, I guess. And I think that's how things will start to change, people understanding, and more research happening, and doctors actually knowing what to do and being able to help with day-to-day life. And I'm tired from talking so much, so that's basically it. I'm sure there's more, but that's just a brief rundown. Like, just it's hard, and we're tired, and it's a fight every day to even get out of bed, let alone do all the things we want to do, especially those of us who are adventurous and want to do fun things. So that's what it is. So thanks for listening. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, comment, ask me questions, tell me a joke, whatever. It'd be nice to get some dialogue going. I'd love to answer questions. I've done a lot of research. I know I am awkward and rambling on video, but I spent a lot of time researching this, and so I would love it if you ask questions. And have a good weekend.